Well, good morning, you four students. I wish this finds you well and safe, and I wish you all safety for you and your families. And I would recommend you what every reasonable person now is saying: stay home for the safety of yourselves and your loved ones. And also, I would like to thank you for the interest that you showed in the previous lectures, in the previous 3 lectures, and the following up that you are doing for the previous lectures. Today we are going to start with our 4th lecture of the critical analysis of Becky's waiting for Godot that is extracted from Martin Eslin's book, The Theater of the Absurd. In our previous lecture we spoke about many important themes like the theme of waiting and the theme of time and the idea of identity and memory, and we ended up speaking about hope. And hope led us to speak about another thing, which is uncertainty. So now we are going to catch up with this theme, the uncertainty of hope, and we are starting from page 53. And we are starting with a story that is, I think, very much familiar to you, and a story that we extensively discussed in class, which is the story of the 2 thieves. So as you remember, it is a story that Vladimir told to Esragan. Here you can see one of the thieves was saved. It is a reasonable percentage. And then he says 2 thieves. One is supposed to have been saved, the other damned. And so this story, as you remember, is very important, and we said that it is a backbone of the play. And Martin Eslin refers to a very important theme that is related to this story, and that is also reverberating through all the parts of the play. And here you see he's saying that the theme of the 2 thieves on the cross, the theme of the uncertainty of hope of salvation, this is one, and the fortuitousness of the bestowal of grace. So there are 2 things in fact: the uncertainty of hope of salvation and fortuitousness. Fortuitousness means something that is happening by chance. And bestowal of grace, grace is in Arabic rahma or al-maghfira al-ilahiyya. So why some people are given that grace, why some people are forgiven, and why some people are not, according to this play, is not something that is based on reason and rational judgment, but rather it is something that is based on chance. In other words, it is arbitrary. And so the hope of salvation, that some people work to salvation and others do not, it is not consequential, but rather all the idea of salvation is something that is uncertain. So no matter what you do, it is a matter of chance whether you are saved or not. And the story of the 2 thieves is very indicative of that. And the story of the 2 thieves is saying that one of the thieves was saved for no obvious reason, and the other thief was damned also for no obvious reason. And you see here in the next paragraph, Martin Eslin was saying and expressing this fact, what really happened with the 2 thieves. And we have 2 thieves, and at the moment of their crucifixion, he says that one happened to make a hostile remark, he was damned, and the other one happened to contradict that hostile remark, he is saved. So this is what really happened with the 2 thieves. So from this we see that the damnation of one of the thieves and the salvation of the other of the 2 thieves is not based on their actions. Rather, both are thieves. Both should have been damned. But rather it is based on something that is happened by chance. It's just a remark. It's not something substantial. That's why you see these, after all, were not well considered judgments. This judgment was not well considered, but chance exclamations uttered at the moment of supreme suffering and stress. So it's just a statement that one of the thieves has made that caused him to be damned, and just a statement that the other thieves has made and caused him to be saved. So it's not based on rational judgment, rather it's just based on. Here if it is all based on chance, then what means is that it can be changed easily. So it could have been very easily been otherwise. Like the thief who was damned could have been saved if he has happened to make a favorable statement, and the thief who has been saved could have been very easily damned if he has happened to make a hostile statement. So it is very easy that things could have been otherwise. The one who is saved could have been damned, and the one who is damned could have been saved. That's why here we come to a very important thing, or a quotation by Pozzo when he speaks about lucky. And he says, remark that I might easily have been in his shoes, and he in mine, if chance, and this is important, if chance had not willed it otherwise. And it means it could have been otherwise, and it is not otherwise because of chance. To each one his due. Okay, so what this means is that Pozzo and Lucky are in their positions now, not because of any deterministic plan of heaven, but rather because of chance. So Pozzo could have been in the position of Lucky, and Lucky could have been in the position of Pozzo. And it's just a matter of chance that they are now in their current positions. And if chance had willed it otherwise, they could have exchanged their positions. So what this means, and this is very important in terms of the religious interpretation of the play, is that the judgment, or what we have here, the uncertainty of hope of salvation and fortuitousness of the bestowal of grace. So the bestowal of grace and the hope of salvation are not rational things, but rather they are just irrational things. And we saw that this is, if we move to the next page, page 54, Martinus is saying Godot himself is unpredictable in bestowing kindness and punishment. That's why, of course, you remember with the boy who minds the goats is treated well by Godot, while his brother who minds the sheep is treated badly by Godot. And when the boy was asked, why does he do so? Why does he beat your brother and doesn't beat you? The boy says, I don't know, or in the French version, je ne sais pas, monsieur. So I do not know, sir. And we saw that also it has parallels with Cain and Abel, the sons of Adam. Okay, so why Cain was damned and Abel was saved. Also, this is something that is kind of arbitrary. Okay, and so this is also the action of Godot is a kind of a shocking news for the two men, because it's not only God who is unpredictable in this sense, but also Godot is behaving just like God. He is unpredictable in his bestowal of grace. So why he treats someone better than the other with no obvious reasons. Okay, so here this is, as we said, is bad news for the two tramps, for Vladimir Astragan. That's why you see Aslan here says, but if Godot kindness is bestowed fortuitously, that according to chance, his coming is not a source of pure joy to the two men. It can also mean salvation. And you see when Astragan in the second act believes Godot to be approaching, his first thought is, I am cursed. Okay, and later on he says, I am in hell. Okay, and so Astragan is also believing that Godot is unpredictable and irrational. So maybe instead of sending them to heaven, instead of providing them with the hope that they are looking for, instead of that, he might be sending them to hell. So are there any obvious reasons why he should do that or shouldn't do that? The answer is no. So they could be saved with Godot, and they could be damned. That's why Astragan, we said, is very realistic, and when he heard about the arrival of Godot, he was not very much happy, but as he was scared that he might be accursed, and or he might go to hell. Okay, so this is also something that the play is saying, that and this is something that is very much clearly expressed in the speech of Lucky, that we are, as human beings, divided into two parties. One party is damned and the other is saved. Okay, that's why when in the Act 2, Lucky returns and the two trumps try to identify them, Estragon calls out Abel, Abel, and Pozzo says Cain, Cain. So this is also a reference to the story of the two thieves, or the bestowal of grace. So while Estragon was saying Abel, Pozzo kind of responds, okay, and says he is all mankind. Okay, so sometimes with Abel and other times with Cain, and why it should be Abel and not Cain, or should be Cain and not Abel. And this is something that is irrationally decided. It's not based on any rational basis. And this interpretation of the story of the two thieves and the idea that salvation happens by 50-50 chance, it might explain why Pozzo wants to get rid of Lucky. There is a phrase in the French version that is not available in the English version. The market that Pozzo was going to sell Lucky in the French version is called the market of the Holy Savior. So maybe it means that Pozzo was aware of this 50-50 chance, and so that he does not let Lucky compete with him on this 50-50 chance. So he wants to get rid of Lucky so that he would be completely in the place of salvation. So because if he and Lucky are both there, it might be the case that Lucky will be saved and Pozzo will be damned. So in order to avoid this conclusion, he wants to sell Lucky in order that he stays alone or remains alone, and that he himself alone will get the salvation without any competition from somebody else, in this case Lucky. So here Martin Esslin is referring to that. Is Pozzo trying to sell Lucky to redeem himself? Is he trying to divert the 50-50 chance of redemption from Lucky? Okay, he certainly complains that Lucky is causing him great pain, and it seems that his mere presence, the presence of Lucky, reminds Pozzo that it might be Lucky who will be redeemed. So if there are two, it might be one of them, as not certainly who this one, it might be one of them who will be saved. And if there are two, it might be there is a 50-50 chance, 50% chance that Lucky is going to be saved while Pozzo is going to be damned. So what he is doing is that he is kind of diverting this from himself. So if he gets rid of Lucky and he remains alone, the bestowal of grace will be only for one person, and there is no possibility that it will go to another person. And here also this story or this theme is also repeated, as we said, in the speech of Lucky, who says that God loves us dearly, with some exceptions for reasons unknown. And as you have noticed in that speech, many times he repeats this sentence, that loves us dearly, with some exceptions for reasons unknown. So this is why, as we said, this is a very important theme. We are coming to the end of this part of the lecture, and what we have said is that one important theme in the play is the theme of the uncertainty of hope and the fortuitousness of the bestowal of grace. So, and the story of the two thieves is the best manifestation of that. Why one of the thieves was saved and the other was damned is not based on rational reasons or judgments, but rather is all based on chance. So this is very scary for people, because it means that whatever they do, they cannot be certain that they will be saved or not. It's just based on chance. Okay, and this theme, as we have said, is repeated in the speech of Lucky, who speaks about a God who loves us dearly, with some exceptions for reasons unknown, and also is repeated in the story of the boy and his brother, and which means that Godot himself is also unpredictable, and his coming might not be a salvation, but also there is a possibility that his coming might be a damnation for Vladimir and Estragon. That's why we saw Estragon is scared about that. And also, as we said, it is repeated with the story of Cain and Abel, and the many references to Cain and Abel in the play also make a reference to this theme of the two thieves. So thank you very much for listening, and in the next lecture hopefully we'll finish the analysis of this essay.